Hi everybody, I'm Scotty Gange. This week on Be Better, we sat down with Ponderosa coach Tito Rinaldis. He was former wrestler at Ponderosa, a two-time state champion, and now he's back coaching his squad and is getting ready today to be right here leading his men in the state championships. And it's all about mental toughness. Hope you enjoy. 10 guys this year going to the state championship, and you just said it was a bit of a stressful week getting the COVID tests in and all that. How has it been as a leader going through this season in 2021 with all the COVID precautions?
It's been a new set of challenges. It's being the head coach at Ponderosa, there's a little bit of pressure there, some expectations as far as success and all that, and then you add on top of that if you make a mistake with protocol or anything like that, it could be a season ender potentially. Right. So I'm fortunate enough that I have a great group of parents and a great group of assistant coaches that kind of, I was able to delegate a lot of things that I normally wouldn't because I have such proficient, folks in my program. So it was a little added pressure, but I think we're through the worst of it now.
Pretty awesome. Hey, it's kind of a special full circle thing, right? You were a wrestler here, and now you're the head coach here. A couple years later, how has your time being a student and wrestler here helped you in being the head coach at Ponderosa?
Well, I had the luxury of having a national Hall of Fame coach, Tim Ottman, as a head coach. So, I got to learn from one of the best. And so, I still have implemented a lot of the things that we did back when I wrestled, and they're still effective. And it was great tutelage from him.
When you think of the lessons that he taught you, what would be the biggest one you think?
I would say the thing that sticks out the most, and it wasn't necessarily something he taught us directly, but there's a banner up in our wrestling room that's been there ever since I wrestled, and it says, "Mental toughness is a decision." And that's something that's carried me through my whole life. It's not just about wrestling, but sometimes we have to be mentally tough about work, family, stuff like that. So it's a phrase and a philosophy that's always stuck with me, and sometimes you just gotta decide it's time to be tough.
That's awesome. I like that. Yeah. Mental toughness is a decision. Coaching young people, what is the biggest thing you've learned about yourself in the past couple of years?
Biggest thing I've learned. Patience. No, but about myself, I don't know. It's really what actually got me into education. When I came back from college, I just kind of started helping out, coaching. I was like, I love wrestling. I want to be around it. So, got an assistant coaching job here and started working with the age group and just fell in love with it. So I ended up getting my teaching license and really found that I kind of have a knack for building positive relationships with kids, and that's what I think makes me both effective in the wrestling room and the classroom.
You're sending 10 kids to the state championships this weekend. It's a pressure-filled time, right? It's live or die really when it comes to state title bouts. How do you approach that in leading young people and having them keep their pressure aligned so that they can be focused during their matches?
Yeah, and I think this is universal in a lot of sports, but I see it a lot more in wrestling, is the seriousness and the intensity with which families take high school sports. Totally understandable. There's been huge monetary and time investments in the sport, but at the same time, we have to understand we're playing. It's fun, and that's what me and my assistants try to emphasize during the state tournament. Is you'll see a lot of serious faces, you'll see a lot of nervous faces. So we try to keep it light and joke and keep kids relaxed and cool. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you got to talk kids off the ledge, but we do the best I can to keep it light and remind them that it's fun and that regardless of the outcome of the match, they're loved and cared for. So that's how we keep it light. Wow.
You kind of just mentioned it, right? The Ponderosa family. I have zero connection to Ponderosa, but it's not too hard to see the family and connection of this community. How special is it to you?
Well, so we have Mustang Wrestling has a creed. It's 6 words that we shout at the end of every practice. It's kind of how we conclude practice, and it's desire, dedication, aggression, heart, respect, and the last word is family. At the end of the day, it's probably the most important, I would say, of the 6, because there's many ways to think about that family piece. The fact that, we wouldn't be where we are without our true biological family. People are going to compete harder, train harder, work harder if they're working for their family, not just teammates, but true family members. So I'd say it's a huge piece. The fact that we've been saying this creed since 2003. So I mean, you can see those 6 words are very important to our mindset when we're competing and practicing and all sorts of things.
With all those 6 words, family being the number 1, what's the number 2 for you?
I think that it really depends on the individual, and it can depend on the situation. Desires is huge. That's not just the desire to win, but that's the desire to make sure you're doing everything right. Dedication. You got to be dedicated to a good process. You got to be dedicated to your teammates and your coaches. I mean, they all fit somewhere. Obviously, importantly, I don't know if I could pick a number 2.
They're all great, huh? For you, combining those 6, that creed, what do you think makes a great leader?
Those things, consistency, persistence. It's interesting to see, to kind of compare the coaching style that you would see maybe in a high school coach, a college coach, and a professional sort of setting is, I think as a high school coach, you have a lot more to deal with as far as school and parents and stuff like that. So you might have to have a thick skin. Patience is huge because you're dealing with the teenage brain, which can be a very complicated thing to comprehend. But yeah, that creed I think really embodies an effective leader, along with other strengths with consistency and perseverance and stuff like that.
Tito Rinaldis, the wrestler in 2003, and Tito Rinaldis, the head coach here at Ponderosa in 2021. What would you say the biggest difference between those 2 people are?
Wife and 2 kids.
A little more tired, less sleep maybe, huh?
Yeah. My joints hurt considerably more.
Gotta take a few more vitamins.
I don't know. I think part of, and I mentioned this earlier, part of my effectiveness is my ability to relate, because I don't feel that far removed from who I was then. Mm-hmm. I've learned a lot, I've matured a lot, obviously, but I still feel young at heart. I still, get to joke with the boys and can relate and without being a friend, be a friend, if that makes sense.
Right.
So I'd say that's the biggest difference is just the things I've learned and taken away from the sport as I've gone through all those modes, as I've gone through a new wrestler to a state champion to a college wrestler to a assistant coach to a head coach. There's a lot of growth that came not only as a coach but as a human.
Coaching a lot of greatness here, like you said,
yes.
like a Schultz. How do you approach that when you've got a state champion wrestler here? How do you approach coaching a young man like that?
A lot of times that is going to be more of a mental piece. You're more of a psychiatrist than you are a technique or anything
right.
like that. Cole was just coaching somebody like Cole. That was low maintenance. I mean, he was so effective on the mat, but also mentally he was one of the more mature kids I've ever dealt with. So kids of that caliber, coaching them is simple. But sometimes we'll have really talented kids, but they'll have issues at home, or they'll have issues at school, or they're a basket case, and that's the challenging part where you kind of have to be that head shrink and get inside there a little bit, because their wrestling is going to be fine, but can we keep them sane and on the mat and competing? So.
How have you approached that over the years? Have you felt like you've gotten better at it? Is there a secret recipe
yes.
that you've learned?
Yes, but I would say the most effective way is just having a positive relationship with that type of kid, making them understand that as a coach and as a teacher, your love for them is unconditional. It doesn't matter if they if they blow it or whatever, they can always come to you and lean on you as a resource for anything. So building that trust and rapport, I think, is the most effective way to deal with that.
That's pretty spectacular. The question I always like to ask, if there's one life lesson, quote, idea that you would say you attack your life with the most, what would you say it was?
More than once. Well, we've already discussed both of them. I would say more than once when I've encountered tough situations in my life, I've always fallen back on mental toughness as a decision, and our 6 words, the creed. I think the creed is a great philosophy to live by for anybody. I want to instill those values in my kids and my family. So I'd say those are probably the 2 most commonly used phrases that run through my head when I encounter a situation that I think is tough.
Well, thank you so much for the time, Coach. Really
Yeah,
appreciate
absolutely.
you.
My pleasure. I appreciate it.